Welcome back to my channel. I'm Valerie Bowden. Today, I'm going to be sharing some of the dirty secrets that the outsourcing industry does not want you to know about. And the reason for this topic is because this week I was on social media, I was on LinkedIn, and I saw this post of some guy, and he said, I had a bad experience with DocuSign's support team, and this is why I'm so skeptical of global talent. And then he went on to say it's hard to find global talent that is professional, that has good communication, that has tech skills. And the post made me so mad because he is so off base and limited in his entire thinking. It just made me so mad. I'm still mad about it. So in this video, I'm going to share why his ideas are off base, but also if you've had a bad experience with a call center or support team, because we've all been there, let's be honest, it's not always the rep's fault. It's because the outsourcing industry has a lot of gray things happening, and a lot of the companies involved really are not set up correctly. So this video is going to help you understand why you've had those bad experiences, so that if you are a business leader who does need some offshore talent, you can feel confident that you can have great global teams who aren't going to be a bad representation of your company. So let's dive in. Okay, so this guy who wrote this information, it was very limited. It's basically like saying if you had a bad piece of pizza that you're never gonna eat pizza again because you didn't like the pizza you ate today. Doesn't make any sense. There's so many different types of pizzas, toppings that you'd put on pizzas, tons of different restaurants who make their pizzas taste totally different. You can't write off pizza because you had one bad piece, right? You had one bad slice. That doesn't make sense. So in the same way, you can't write off global talent because you had one bad experience. So let's diagnose then, why do we have these issues? Now, before we dive into that, I also just have to say my personal belief is that talent is everywhere. It's not monopolized in any certain zip code or any city or country. I saw this saying once and it said, talent is everywhere, opportunity is not. I don't know who said it, but it's so beautiful just to recognize that there's talent all over the world. There are people who are great at being communicative, who are professional, who have amazing tech skills, and they're not located only in America. It's all throughout the world. So when you've had a bad experience with a call center or with an outsourced team, what are the reasons for it? Now, here's why. The first thing that you have to know, let's say the first dirty secret, is that there's a lot of middlemen involved in the outsourcing industry. So for example, if you would look at outsourcing to Africa, the largest outsourcing company in Africa doesn't even have their own home offices. They outsource to other outsourcing companies who then hire the people. Okay, so the more middlemen you have involved, the more of a disconnect you have from the end customer to the person who is the representative, who's the first, front line of support to help the customer. So for example, this customer, that this client knows so well, this client isn't even the one hiring the offshore team members. Often they're hiring another outsourcing company, and then that outsourcing company again is hiring another outsourcing company. That company tells their recruiters what to look for, and then they finally hire the person. So there's a massive disconnect between the people who are getting hired and the people who know what the customers need. And so that's why, again, I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but at Cradle, we don't have other middlemen. We hire directly because we know the clients and we know the talent and we match them. And the less people involved and the more direct connection you have, the better quality you're going to have because you can recruit specifically for what you need. Now, the second thing you have to know is that a lot of these large outsourcing companies or Fortune 500 companies who hire these companies, they pay horribly. I don't know where DocuSign hires from or what they pay, but I know a lot of large companies, you probably have their app on your phone, that will hire and pay 50 cents an hour in Ethiopia. So here's what you have to know. That is too low of a wage. Yes, a lot of these outsourced countries have a lower cost of living, which is why you can pay less and still pay ethical, fair, competitive wages. But 50 cents an hour does not get you anything in Ethiopia anymore. That's too small. And so what happens when you pay these small prices is a few things. One, retention levels. Maybe somebody will take the job, but they're not going to stay long. So you're always churning through new employees. Two, the people who are staying with you probably have multiple other jobs. There's another large outsourcing company in Ethiopia that I know pretty well, and all of their team members have 2 or 3 other jobs that they're working. And so their first real client isn't getting great support because they're not getting paid well, so they're taking on other jobs. So that's not good. And also, when you're paying low wages, you're not attracting anybody who has experience. You're probably getting people where they're fresh out of college and this is their first job. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs their first job. But sometimes the problem of hiring, let's say, a cold caller or a customer service representative who's had no other experience is they're not going to be the best at the job. They'll be better when they're 6 months in, a year in, several years in. But if you're paying such tiny prices, you're not going to attract the people who have been doing this for a couple years and would probably be better at it than someone who this is like day one on the job. So that is kind of dirty secret number 2, is that these large companies don't pay well. Okay, point number 3 is recruitment. If you are on the call with someone and you cannot understand what they're saying, the accent is too hard to understand, they're not giving you good advice, there's a disconnect, you're feeling frustrated, you should chalk that up to bad recruitment. They're not hiring the best people for the job. And I know a lot of these recruiters that work for these other outsourcing companies. And when a large client like a DocuSign comes in, there's often a huge amount of people that they have to hire all at once. So in the outsourcing industry, they often call them seats. They don't even refer to them as humans, people, team members, valued employees. It's just a seat. They're literally just trying to fill a chair. And so they're told to really choose quantity over quality. So they're not choosing people with the best accent, with the best experience, with the most professionalism. It's literally a quantity. Like I have to hire 100 people in 2 weeks. So if you can speak English a little bit and you can come to work at this time, you're in, you're hired. And that is a fatal flaw. You always have to focus on quality. Even if you're hiring for large volumes, you have to focus on quality because otherwise you have these negative experiences that so many of us have dealt with. So in this instance, these companies should have had larger recruitment teams to help them, or they should be looking at different geographical areas. So one of the things that we have done at Cradle is that although I'm always biased towards Ethiopia because I lived there for 8 years, my husband's Ethiopian, all my team members are Ethiopian, we still hire in other African countries. And that's because the outsourcing industry is still quite small in Africa. A lot of the outsourcing companies, including ourselves, are hiring mostly from the capital cities because that's where there is the best internet, the best technology. Most of the more educated college grads are located in the capital city, and it's just an easier place to hire from. But if you're only hiring from one country, sometimes you get stuck in this bubble where all the outsourcing countries are trying to pull from the same candidate pool, and that can create some issues. Again, you're not going to have as good of quality. So one of the things we've done at Cradle is that because we're able to hire from different African countries, we also will get better candidates because we're not stuck in the same limited bubbles. We're able to pull great candidates from different countries and make sure that our clients always get great quality candidates. And it also helps us fulfill the quantity because we're able to hire from multiple countries. Okay, the last, I would say, dirty secret of the outsourcing industry is that there are so many companies that really and truly provide horrible training, onboarding, no account management, and that really affects the overall service that these reps can do. So we've had clients come to us before and they're just like, day one, here's a list, pick up the phone, say these words, say the script, that's it. The reps are given no training. And that does not lead for good performance. So at Cradle, what we like to say is you should have a proper onboarding. You should have proper training. You should have someone within your company who can answer questions, who can be a point person, who every day can help them, at least the first 90 days, make sure that they're doing a great job, review their work, give them mentoring and coaching. That's how you get great people. And also account management. We just did an entire podcast episode with our head of account management, Nadia, and she shared all of the things she does to make sure that our clients are happy with our reps. And when you have these large companies like DocuSign, they're not having an account manager that's connected directly to the reps and who also knows the client issues, there's no one in the middle that's connecting them and making sure it's a good fit and making sure that these clients are getting taken care of. And that really makes the performance suffer. So again, what I'm trying to say is you cannot blame this on the representatives. Yes, we've all had bad experience, but if you look at it, one, they're so disconnected from the customer and often from the actual company that they're working for that there is a massive disconnect. Two, they're most likely not getting paid well and they probably don't have enough experience for the job. Three, bad recruitment that really just hired anybody, literally hired a seat instead of really looking if this was a quality, good hire. And four, this person who's getting hired probably hasn't had good training, onboarding, coaching, mentoring, account management, everything that is crucial in any other workplace, but especially with virtual remote hires. So again, if you've had a bad experience, I just want to assure you that it is not global talent. That is not the problem. That is just like insane and doesn't make sense. And if you are a business leader, what you have to do is you have to work with a company that is not outsourcing to other companies. You have to interview yourself. You should know the representatives, or you should trust the outsourcing company to help you with that. Three, you have to provide proper training and guidance. And if you do those things, you will have great customer service and great contact centers and great experiences with offshore talent. But don't write off global talent because you've had a bad experience. Doesn't make sense. Anyways, tell me your worst story with a contact center or customer service in the comments below. And I can't wait to hear your experience on why it was negative, why you think it was negative. And I look forward to reading those comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find these videos helpful.